We are just a few days away from the start of Halloween Horror Nights 2023, and in today's video we're going to be heading on inside the park for our final update of the season, and we're going to be giving you our ultimate survival guide for Halloween Horror Nights 2023. And whether it's your first visit or your 100th visit to Halloween Horror Nights, this video is going to be breaking down every single thing you need to know before walking through those gates. And take a look at that, guys. The entrance medallion has finally been placed in preparation for opening night, and I don't know if you guys can see in the camera, but in the background you can see Dr. Oddfellow's symbol, and you can see all the symbols of the Zodiac. Now, before we even head on inside the park, I want to talk to you guys about tickets. If you guys know for 100% certainty that you're going to be coming to Halloween Horror Nights 2023, buy your tickets ahead of time. Over the last couple of years, it was very common to see dates sell out. So you don't want to be the people who wait until day of to buy their ticket, only to find out that it's completely sold out for the night. Or even worse, you make the drive out here to Universal, get to the turnstiles, only to find out that it's sold out. When you do get your tickets online, make sure you pay attention to the delivery method. Most tickets have a mobile pass option where you can get your barcode on your phone. That way, when you get here, you can avoid all ticket lines and go straight to the turnstile. Or you can be like me, and if you prefer a physical ticket, you can select Will Call Kiosk. I got here to the park today, I went over to the machine, swiped my credit card, and out popped my ticket for Halloween Horror Nights 2023. The point that I'm trying to make is to make sure that you plan ahead and get your tickets as early as possible. Before we head on into the park, take a look at this truss structure over here. We thought that it was going to say Halloween Horror Nights at the top, but alas, it has popped up over here. We're going to take a closer look at that in just a second. It looks like we have a few speakers that have been placed on this truss structure. So we don't know if there's going to be anything else that's added, or if there's going to be any lighting or any more thematic details, but we have some speakers. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, our very first scare zone of the event. This is going to be Dr. Oddfellow's collection of horror. Dr. Oddfellow will lure you into Halloween Horror Nights with a promise of immortality as he lifts the veil on all the horrors to come. You'll soon realize you may not even survive the night. As you guys can see, this scare zone is at the very entrance of the park. As soon as you walk through those gates, you're going to be stepping into your very first scare zone, which is a big change from years past, where the first scare zone used to be further on down towards the new Minion Land area. And returning from years past, we also have the famous Halloween Horror Nights neon lights. Up here on this platform, we can expect to see Dr. Oddfellow talking and interacting with guests as they walk into the event. So we are super excited to see what this scare zone entails. And not only do we have the elevated platform over here at the very entrance of the park, but the scare zone does continue past the Today Cafe and over towards the new Universe store. Take a look at this carriage. A lot more props have been added over here since our last visit. A lot more suitcases and briefcases and trunks and any kind of traveling case you can imagine is here. We have the foot pedals over here that are now covered up by some suitcases, and it appears we may have a body on top of this Zodiac table over here. Now, we do believe that this stage is going to be utilized by Madame Bastille, who we think is going to be out here talking and interacting with guests. Now, as we make our way into our second scare zone of the event, I want to give you guys my first pro tip of the video. If you guys are not utilizing Stay and Scream for Halloween Horror Nights and you are starting the event off from the very front gates, I highly recommend as soon as you walk into the park, you make a right and you start making your way over towards the very back of the park. Those 4 haunted houses at the very back of the park are going to have the shortest wait times at the start of the event. When the event first starts, everybody is going to be making their way towards the haunted houses at the very front of the park, one of which being Stranger Things, which is going to be a very popular property. If I were you guys, I'd make my way over towards the back of the park and bust out those 4 haunted houses as quickly as possible. Let's go ahead on inside Dark Zodiac and get our final look. Dr. Oddfellow has entered a dark dimension to harness the power of the Zodiac and live forever. He twists the signs into malevolent beings who foretell your doom. As his star rises, yours falls. Like I said earlier, guys, this is the scare zone that is going to be located in the Hollywood section of the park. Let's go ahead and check out what updates we have, starting with this very first platform over here. This used to be a cylindrical hole with a Leo symbol on it. It is now covered up. You can see we have a wire coming from this weighted pole going in here, so more than likely there's probably going to be a body or something gruesome that's going to be pulled in and out of that hole. So that's very interesting. We also have a brand new foot trigger over here And we have, of course, our flame towers. Those aren't necessarily new, but it's still something very cool to point out that I cannot wait to see in action. We also have these barrel towers that have been set up throughout the scare zone. Now, I don't exactly know if there's going to be any more detail added to these, but they still look really cool regardless. Now, as of right now, the middle of the street in this scare zone looks pretty barren. I do suspect that we're going to have some platforms that are going to be rolled out in that in-between time when the park closes and Halloween Horror Nights actually starts, just like what we saw last year with Graveyard Deadly Unrest. During the day, the street was completely empty, and when the event started, they rolled out a couple of massive platforms to be spread out throughout the zone. I think that's going to be the case this year. And take a look at this platform over here. We have another tarp, which means there's a body or something gruesome hidden under there. Also, we have this new flooring over here. Typically, we don't see this type of flooring unless the floor is going to be wet. So I do believe that we're going to have some water effects over here on this platform that's going to be spraying on guests. So make sure you guys pay attention to that. You can also see a hose back here as well. So yeah, definitely going to be some water effects happening around this stage. So make sure you guys are prepared. So ladies and gentlemen, before we get into our next scare zone, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about Stay and Scream. What's Stay and Scream, do you ask? Well, Universal gives guests the opportunity to stay inside the park while they transition from daytime operations to Halloween Horror Nights. Now, you're able to stay inside the park if you have both a regular day ticket and a ticket to Halloween Horror Nights, an annual pass, or a Stay and Scream ticket. Now, a Stay and Scream ticket can be purchased online on the Halloween Horror Nights website for, I believe, $40, and that gives you the opportunity to come inside the park at, I think, 2 or 3 p.m. and lets you stay in the Stay and Scream location until Halloween Horror Nights officially begins. If you're coming to Halloween Horror Nights, I highly recommend you purchase this Scream Early ticket. That way you can get inside the park early and get into a Stay and Scream location, so that way you can get first dibs on the haunted houses. Now, typically, the haunted houses do open up 30 minutes early to those guests in Stay and Scream locations, so the event officially starts at 6:30, but Stay and Scream guests get first dibs on the haunted houses at 6 o'clock. If you guys don't have an express pass for the evening, this is going to be the best way to get a head start on your evening. Now, for this year's event, there are going to be 4 different Stay and Scream locations all throughout the park. This year, they're going to be at the Today Cafe, Delancey Street in New York, Richter Burger Company in San Francisco, and Duff Brewery in Springfield. Now, all of these different Stay and Scream locations are going to grant you access to different haunted houses. So when the event officially starts, we will know exactly which haunted houses go to which Stay and Scream location. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and you pay attention to future videos, because we will be updating you then. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's check out the next scare zone in Central Park, Jungle of Doom, Expedition Horror. In the 1920s, Dr. Oddfellow ventured deep into the darkest jungle, performing horrific experiments on nature. Now his monstrous creations are running amok and are coming after you. I've already said this in the past, guys, but this scare zone is going to be my most anticipated zone of the event. I cannot wait to see this thing in action with all the lights and the music and the fog. It's going to be absolutely incredible, and I have a feeling it's going to be one of the most terrifying scare zones of the event. Some of our rat friends from last week got removed and or covered up. What the heck? We have a few more fog machines that have been placed in the zone, as well as more foliage. Construction walls are down from in front of the Kids Zone Pizza Company, and you can see a brand new planter has been added, and Woody Woodpecker has unfortunately been removed. Now, if you guys have heard of Halloween Horror Nights, then more than likely you've heard of their famous pizza fries. Over here at Kids Zone Pizza is one of several locations throughout the park where you're going to be able to pick some up. Now, I don't know if these construction walls are going to be here when the event officially starts on Friday. However, beyond these walls is going to be the entrance to our first haunted house. Let's go take a look. Now check this out, guys. Right outside the entrance to E.T. Adventure, we have our very first house portal. Now we suspect that this is going to be the entrance to the Universal Monsters haunted house. Now this is going to be kind of different from what we had in years past. Because of all the construction going on here in the former Kids Zone area, we don't have any queues going through the former Curious George section of the park. So we suspect that the haunted house queue is going to utilize the existing exterior E.T. queue. And take a look at this, guys. We have a couple of food booths that have popped up outside the Animal Actors Theater. Now, in years past, there used to be a bunch of tables set up over here where you could just eat your food, but it looks like they've since removed those and put food booths in over here. We do have a couple of fryers over here, so I do suspect that this may be one of the locations where you can get Twisted Taters here at the event, which is another very popular food item for Halloween Horror Nights. Well, look at that. I don't even need to speculate. Twisted Tater Ice, Twisted Tater Soda, Twisted Tater Beer. Yep, these coolers just confirmed it. Now, over here in the Springfield section of the park, in years past, we have never had an official scare zone take place in Springfield. However, it's not uncommon to see a roaming horde pass through Springfield. So even though there's no official scare zone listed on the map, this area may still not be safe from scare actors. Now over here next to the MIB Gear shop, we have our entrance to our next haunted house. Now for this particular portal, we anticipate this being the entrance to the Darkest Deal haunted house located inside one of the Sprung tents. Now right next to the Coca-Cola refreshment station, we do have a truss structure over here that we have never seen before. There's a lot of speculation going around as to whether or not this is going to be another entrance portal to a haunted house, possibly The Last of Us, but there are also those who say that this is going to be a designated exit for some haunted houses. So we don't know exactly for sure what it's going to be, but I'll make sure to let you guys know come opening night. Now on the opposite side of Men in Black Alien Attack, we have the entrance to our next haunted house over here right next to the Fear Factor Stadium. This is going to be the entrance to Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. This is going to be a haunted house dedicated to this year's icon, Dr. Oddfellow. So with us bringing up this haunted house, I want to go ahead and give you guys my next pro tip for Halloween Horror Nights. Make sure you guys wear comfortable shoes and make sure you are prepared to walk and stand for extended periods of time. Because with this haunted house in particular, you're going to be walking a lot, because the queue for this haunted house takes you out and around the exterior of the Men in Black Alien Attack show building just to get to that Sprung tent. So you are going to be doing a lot of walking, whether you have express or you're standing in the regular line. Just make sure you guys are mentally and physically prepared. And speaking of the Fear Factor Arena, this is where we're going to have our one and only nighttime show for Halloween Horror Nights, which is going to be Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream. Now at this time, we don't have specific show times posted quite yet, but come opening night, I will update you guys. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Nightmare Fuel, it's a high energy dance show that uses illusions and a lot of pyrotechnics. It gets very, very hot in that theater because they use a lot of flames. Now, I have seen this show over the last couple of years, and it's a pretty good show. If you're here at Halloween Horror Nights for the very first time, I definitely think it's worth checking out once. However, if it's anything like last year's show, then it's probably going to be a rehash of the very first year's show. So who knows if it's going to be exactly better than it was last year, but I'll make sure to let you guys know. So believe it or not, our next Halloween Horror Nights related item to talk about brings us inside Diagon Alley. Let's go ahead and check it out. So ladies and gentlemen, we did get official confirmation that Death Eaters are going to be invading Diagon Alley and Nocturne Alley. This area is no longer going to be a safe zone away from the scares of Halloween Horror Nights. You come in here, you are likely going to get scared by some Death Eaters as they roam and terrorize the streets. Before we make our way over into the San Francisco section of the park, I want to show you guys this. We finally have some signage over here for the Peacock Halloween Horror Bar. Now, as far as I know, this is going to be a specialty bar that has a lot of lighting, a lot of music, and different photo ops themed around the Peacock streaming service. And take a look at this. We have a brand new truss structure over here that looks like it may be a photo op. We have some lights over here that looks like it's going to illuminate whatever's going to be inside over here. I suspect within the next couple days, we can get a new backdrop over here and we can get this flattened out, and this may be a photo op. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's head on into our next scare zone, Shipyard 32. Enter a 1940 San Francisco shipping yard full of mysterious crates and cages bearing Dr. Oddfellow's symbol. Beware, his nightmarish oddities have now escaped, spreading fear and chaos in their wake. All right, ladies and gentlemen, over here by Fast and Furious Supercharged, we have the entrance to our next haunted house, which is going to be Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. And ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and check out our last and final scare zone of the event, which is going to be Vamp 69, Summer of Blood. At a 60s music festival in a small New York town, you'll jam to popular bands with fellow concertgoers until Dr. Oddfellow unleashes vicious vampires on the audience. They're out for your blood. Now, this is probably my second most anticipated scare zone, only because it's so big and we've had great success with the Vamp scare zones in the past. Previously, we've had Vamp 55 and Vamp 85, and now we are jumping to Vamp 69. Take a look at this banner that's been added on the bus. Music Fest or Bust. I love this. Not only is this scare zone the largest, but also take a look at this massive stage that they set up over here for this zone. Again, we don't have official confirmation yet as to whether or not we're going to get live performances over here. I'd like to think that we will. However, we have bodies that have been placed here on this stage. These tarps are covering up bodies, and you can see over here we have a hand sticking out of this tarp that was playing the keyboard. We also have a microphone over here with some flowers and some tie-dye streamers. This is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see this in action. Also, ladies and gentlemen, while you're here at Halloween Horror Nights, make sure you take advantage of the Tribute Store for an excellent Halloween-themed shopping experience. So before we get started with this next clip, guys, while I was editing this video, Universal Studios actually put out the official park map for the event, so we now know the official locations of all 10 haunted houses at this year's event. So this next clip shows me doing a little bit of speculation, and what I said was completely wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and put an asterisk next to the haunted house picture, so that way you guys know what is actually going to be in that location. Alright, let's get back to the video. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now heading on out of the New York section, we have our last batch of haunted houses. We have a portal over here and a portal over here. Now, we do believe that these haunted house entrants are going to be for Dueling Dragons, Choose Thy Fate, and Stranger Things. Now, it's subject to change. It's going to be one of the two, so don't expect, it to be exactly where I placed it. It could flip-flop, but it's going to be one of those two locations. Over here, out in front of Jimmy Fallon, we have another haunted house portal. This one is going to be used for Blood Moon Dark Offerings. Now, I know we really haven't discussed food booths in this video, but there are several located right behind me, and there are a lot more spread out throughout the park. Each one is themed differently, and each one has a uniquely delicious food item that's definitely worth checking out. Take this one for example. This is called Surfer Boy Pizza, which is the pizza shop in Stranger Things. Right across the way from Minions Cafe, in the Music Plaza, we have our next haunted house portal. This one is going to be for the Exorcist Believer. And ladies and gentlemen, as we make our way out of the park, we have our last and final haunted house portal, which is going to be located right over here next to Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem. This haunted house portal is going to be for Yeti Campground Kills. Before we end off today's video, I want to give you guys another pro tip. If you guys are wanting to maximize your time and money here at Halloween Horror Nights, make sure you guys prepare to stay here from opening until close. That means from at least 6:30 when the event officially starts until 2 a.m. when the event officially ends. Midway through the night, a lot of the haunted houses are going to be at their longest wait times. However, during that last hour or 30 minutes before the event actually closes is when a lot of the haunted houses are going to be at their lowest waits, and that is when you're going to be able to bust out a lot more of them before the night ends. So it's very beneficial for you guys to plan on staying until the very end of the night. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and with that, another Halloween Horror Nights construction update season has come to a close. The next video that you see from us that's Halloween Horror Nights related is going to be opening night of this fantastic event, and I cannot wait to be here to cover it all for you guys. We do have a hotel booked over here in Orlando, so we are going to be here the entirety of opening weekend, giving you guys all the sweet content from Halloween Horror Nights 2023. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed any part of it or you got any helpful information from this video, please help us out by leaving a like on the video, as it greatly helps us out. And if you liked what you saw here and you want to see more like it in the future, make sure you do subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell to get notified whenever we upload new videos like this in the future. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, and I'll see you guys in the fog.